Yo, what's going on? Hope you're doing good. My name's David the Crook, and today what I'm gonna be doing is I'm just gonna be sitting here talking to you, answering a question or two that I normally get a lot. Usually, I take you with me into the studio where I show you exactly how I record, mix, and master a song. But today, like I said, we're gonna be doing something a little bit different. Before we get into the video and before we get into the question that I always get asked, if you could please like the video, subscribe, drop a comment, especially if you have any questions or if this brings up any curiosity within you. Drop a question down below. I'll be more than glad to answer the questions. So, the question I always get asked over and over and over again is, how do I make my mixes sound better? I wish there was one thing I could just tell you, be like, do this, boom, mix sounds good. That's it. But the truth and the honest is, there's not just one thing that makes your mix better. It is a bunch of little things that you have to do that stacks up on top of each other that makes your mixes good. First one being is the room you're in. If you're mixing with speakers and your room's not treated, you're not going to really get a good mix. If you're mixing just on headphones, you could get a pretty good mix, but it's not going to be as good as if you're using both headphones and speakers. The first thing I want to make sure you get down is your mixing environment is on point. Now, a lot of us don't really work in studios. Some of us work in home studios like this. Like, this is my home studio right here. So something I did was I built sound treatment panels. My room's not soundproof, I guess you could say, because I don't really think that's possible to do, but it's dry in here. There's not a lot of echo. It's as dry as it could possibly be. I got this blackout curtain here behind me. Did I notice a difference when I got it? To be honest, no, but supposedly it helps. The majority of my treatment comes from the two sound panels that I built. You know, you could get foam. There a lot of people talk about foam. I got like these bass traps. Do I notice that much of a difference? To be honest, I don't. The foams on the wall around here, they're like an inch thick. They don't do anything. So you want to make sure the things you use in your home studio actually work. Now, there's a couple things you could look online. I kind of went over it on my ebook, Recording Pro Vocals. If you haven't checked that out, I am having a 50% sale on that. So click the link down below in the bio so you could get a link to the ebook. And if you're interested in purchasing that, use the discount code 50OFF to get 50% off the ebook. Now, if you want me to go more in depth on how to build sound panels and how to show you exactly how to build one up to put in your room to make it more sound treatment, let me know down below in the comments and I'll do that. Now, the second thing you need to know when it comes to getting your mixes right is making sure your equipment is set up right. If you have speakers and they're just on the table, you're not going to really be hearing everything. You get what I mean? There's certain things when it comes to being able to hear your mixes right that you need to make sure you hone down and get. If you're mixing too loud, that's another bad thing. You get ear fatigue. If your speakers are like one up and one down, you're not going to hear right. They both have to be leveled to your ears. You have to create what they call that perfect triangle, kind of like how I have here. I got one speaker there, and they both, if I sit up right, when the sound comes out, it goes straight into my ears. There's not one here, there's not one here, there's not one back here. You have to create that perfect triangle. It takes a little bit of math, a little tape measure, it takes some time, but to be honest, it is worth it. It's getting the environment you are recording in down perfect, getting it dry, making sure you're able to hear everything as clear as possible. Now, that's the first step when it comes to getting your mixes better. But even before that, you have to make sure that the song you're recording sounds good. It sounds dry. It sounds clean. A lot of times I've seen videos or pictures and stuff of people recording in the restroom or in the kitchen. And I think to myself, I'm like, why? Like, why would you record in the restroom, bro? But then they always put up the argument, well, it's the natural reverb and stuff. Bruh, add that in the mix. There's no reason to get that natural reverb in the mic as you're recording because you can't take that off. Because if you get that natural reverb, let's say in the restroom, in the kitchen or whatever, And then it just doesn't sound good in the song because of the beat. It sounds different. Because the beat, let's say you need like a hall, or you need a room, or you're going for more of a space reverb. If it's already in the recording, you can't take that off. So you want to make sure you get a nice, clean, dry recording. Like I said, I go over majority of all this stuff in the ebook Recording Pro Vocal, so go check that out. But you want to make sure that when you're recording in a nice, dry environment. You could use something like this. You could use something like this. Stuff like this is going to help. It's not going to get the job done 100%, obviously. Like in this room right here, like it's dry. I got the sound panels, I got this, I got that. I don't really use that no more. I use that mostly when I travel, when I go record, like if we're at a hotel or I go to one of my boys' house and they're trying to record and we record it there because he doesn't have sound panels. And, you know, a cool trick you could do is walk around and clap. Like in your room, like right now, just get up and just clap, you know? Clap in different spots. You might hear a little ping. And that's normal. You can't really get rid of it all, but the more you can minimize it, the better. So making sure you get a nice clean recording, being able to actually hear everything. And then the mixing part, well, everybody has a different mixing style. The way I mix is different than the way you mix. The plugins I use is different than the plugins you use. You just got to find out what works best for you. And honestly, that comes over time. I remember when I first got into mixing, I guess, I didn't have money for plugins. So I use like free plugins. I use stock plugins. I think for the longest time, I still use stock Logic Pro X plugins every once in a while. You don't really need those third-party plugins. Yeah, I use a lot of Wave plugins because, to be honest, for me, Wave plugins are probably one of my favorite plugins because they get the job done. They work. You get that nice, cool, like, sound, that color onto the vocals. So I personally do like using Wave plugins. But if you're a beginner and you're barely getting started into mixing, I wouldn't recommend you to invest too much money into plugins. I would rather you just get some free plugins and get some plugins online, like for free, and use the stock plugins. That's all you really need. One compressor is not really that much difference of another compressor. One EQ is not really that much different of a different EQ. Yeah, there's subtle little minor things that are different between an EQ and a compressor, but in general, a compressor is a compressor and an EQ is an EQ. A delay is a delay. An effect is an effect. Whether I use the stock Logic Pro X compressor or I use the Waves, was it CLA 96, the black one. To be honest, I can't tell the difference. I know you can't. The average person listening to the song ain't be able to tell the difference either, whether I use the free one or the one I used that I bought for $30. You know? It just depends on where you're at and what stage you're at in the mixing, is whether you should invest in more. And if you think you're ready to invest into some Wave plugins, I do have a discount link down below in the description where you could get Wave plugins at a discounted rate. So check it out. Other than that, if you don't think you're ready to invest money into plugins, I would suggest you check out my ebook, 100 plus free plugins. I literally wrote an ebook including more than 100 plugins that you could get for free online, where you just get the ebook, open it up, it's all there, labeled, whether you want compressors, EQs, delays, reverbs, effects, preamps, noise gates, literally every single type of plugin that you could imagine, it's in there, and you can get it for free. That way you don't have to buy these plugins. You can practice with them. To be honest, a lot of those plugins are just as good as paid plugins. You know, there's a analog obsession plugins. You get the LA. Matter of fact, I like the LA better than I like the Wave CLA 2. One of them's free, the other one I bought, but I use the free one. So, you know, it's finding these little tricks. It's finding these little things you do to improve your mixing, to improve what you're doing. It's not this, like, do this to your vocals when you're mixing and your song's gonna sound professional. Like, it don't really work that way. And I hope you, like, I dig that into you and you realize that You might be looking for all these little cheat codes. You might be looking for all these little tips and tricks and stuff that you could do onto your mix, but they don't work. They don't exist. It's actually putting in the work. It's actually mixing songs over and over and over and over and over and over and over until you start realizing, like, you open up your ears, if that makes sense. Like, even now when I mix, sometimes I'll be grabbing a compressor and like I'll be tweaking the attack and the release, or I'll be, tweaking how much compression it's getting. I'm like, dude, I can't hear what it's doing. You know what I mean? Then if I were just to put the attack and the release on auto, it saves me a lot more time just put it in auto than manually be tweaking the attack and the release, but I still like try and I still practice, and I still do my best to really open up my ears. It's kind of like the EQ. When I first started mixing, I just knew cut below 100 hertz. Anything below 100, cut it out. 400, dip it. And that's cool, like, to start off. It gets the job done. But it wasn't until I was able, when I started really mixing songs consistently over and over and over, not the same song, but different songs. Sometimes even the same song, I'll mix the song like 2, 3, 4 times before the artist was like, yeah, this is the one. It's not always the first mix that, gets your job done. A lot of times it's dope when it does. When you're just in the zone, you mix a song, boom, they send it, they like it, and they release it. Perfect. But when I first started getting into EQing, I would just cut those hertz. And then it wasn't until, I wouldn't really say recently, it was a while back, where I started really hearing where I cut the 100 hertz and I could feel it and I could hear it in the speakers. And I wouldn't be able to do that if my speakers were on my desk. I had to elevate them to my ear level. I wouldn't be able to hear that if my room wasn't treated, because then I would just be hearing a bunch of frequencies that would be bouncing back and forth. You know what I mean? And when I was able to actually hear it, I was able, okay, let me push it a little bit more, depending on the type of song. I was going more for like a West Coast song. It needs to have like that full body. Okay, let me not push it past 130. Let me bring it a little back. 115 sounds cool. Okay, I'm doing a trap song. Let me push it. Okay, 130 sounds cool. 140 sounds all right. It kind of thins it out just a little bit. Let me push it back a little bit. 130. Okay, sounds cool. It sounds different than the West Coast. But it's supposed to sound different because it's two different methods of mixing. It's the same steps, the same, vocal chain to some extent. But there's these little small tweaks that you do into the mixing that makes the difference between whether the song's going to sound like an R&B song more, the song's going to sound more like a West Coast, more of a trap song, more of like a UK song, more of like a Texas song. Like these little small changes that you do when you're mixing that makes the difference, that you pretty much create, you form, and you shape the vocals into what you're going for. So going back to what I was saying, there's not just one thing that makes your mixes sound good. If you want your mixes to sound better and you're looking for those hacks and tips, tricks, well, there's none. It's just consistency and hard work, if I'm being completely honest. Making sure you're able to maximize every little part of the environment and every little step that you're doing. Like, I could tell you, recording, you do this, this, and that, and it's true. But then there's those, like, how do you set up your mic? I could just tell you, set the mic up, connect it, XLR cable into the audio interface, turn it on, record. Okay, that works. But what about those little microphone tricks that you could do? Like if you have a lot of S's, you could set your mic up a certain way. You know what I mean? That way, if that artist or you have those hard S's where they have like a lisp, or, they have like a lot of sharpness that kind of just pop everything up. There's certain things you could do to the microphone that you can minimize that. If you pick something up from it, it's just put in the work, maximize every part of the environment, make sure your setup's good, make sure you're recording high quality vocals, make sure everything is as good as you could get it. There's a saying that says, record like there's no mixing, you mix like there's no mastering, and you master like it's not gonna get released. I don't really I don't really know the end of it, but it's something like that, and it's true. If you record and you take the time and you set everything up and you record the song like no one's gonna get like if it's not gonna get mixed, you're gonna make sure every little word is heard. You're gonna make sure the gain is right. You're gonna make sure there's no background noise. There's no like outside noise that is being affected into the recording. Because once it goes into the recording, there's no coming out. Kind of like how I said, people record in the restroom with the natural reverb or whatever, but they can't remove that reverb after, even if it sounds bad. The long run, it probably messes up the quality of the vocals anyways. So you want to get that nice, clean, dry recording. When it comes to the mixing, now, mixing, there's a lot of things I could go into, but one thing I do stress and push on is making sure you're actually able to hear everything. Making sure your speakers are right, your headphones, you're not mixing on no Beats headphones. You record using Beats headphones, I guess, but don't mix with them. You want to make sure you get some headphones that are nice, flat headphones. Everything's transparent, everything's coming out good. There's not all these little spikes in the frequencies of the headphones. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much it. I want to remind you to subscribe, drop a like, leave a comment if you have any questions, if you want me to go more in depth in a certain topic. I will be releasing more videos like this, as well as the mixing and mastering videos that I release. So I'm going to be adding a balance, little changes coming here and there. If you haven't already, check out the ebook Recording Pro Vocals or 100 plus free plugins you could get for free. If you're looking into getting both ebooks, I do have a special bundle for you where you could get both ebooks at a cheaper price than if you were to buy them separately. Like I said, use the discount code 50 off, either or, whether you're getting one ebook or getting them both. Use the discount code 50 off. If you're looking into getting a song recorded, mixed, or mastered by me, hit me up on my Instagram or email me. Everything will be down below in the description. Shoot me a message telling me mixing or how much for a song mix, whatever you want to tell me. I'll get back to you. We'll get it done. If you're an artist and you're looking for beats, check out my beat store. The link will be down below in the description. Also, if you purchase a beat, not only do I give you the mixed version of the beat, I also give you the mastered version of the beat, as well as everything stemmed out and in sections. So if you want to customize the beat, naturally when I create a beat, I do intro, hook, verse, outro, whatever. But when you purchase a beat like a lease, I do break it up. So if you want to customize the beat however you want to do it, if you're not into that traditional intro, hook, verse, whatever, you could do intro, verse, hook, and you could set it up. Like I give you everything, 8-bar loops, 8-bar loops, 16-bar loops, where you're able to customize and put everything exactly where you want it. So that's a cool benefit you could get if you purchase a beat. I don't really know anybody else who does that, but I just thought I would include that there for you. Also, if you're using Logic Pro X and you need some Logic Pro X mixing templates, I do have some free templates or some templates that you could purchase for recording, mixing, and mastering. If you haven't seen my other videos, go check them out. Also, I haven't really pushed this enough, but in my last couple videos, I do offer a free practice mixing template. So the song that I use to mix and show you how to mix, I offer that template now for you for free. So click that link, go to my other videos if you like the song, look in the description, and you could download that same exact song. You could see, if you have Logic, you can see exactly what I did with the plugins, or you could practice mixing that song. If you're new into beginning and you're trying to get into mixing and you don't have, songs to mix, or you don't know anybody where you're from, that wants to record and you can mix their song, download that one, practice it, send it to me. If you want some feedback, I'll give you some feedback. My goal and my job, I guess you could say, is to give you the best information, to give you the best knowledge when it comes to recording, mixing, and mastering music, anything in general, especially in a home studio. I pretty much learned everything over the last couple years. It's been a journey. And I'm here to help you with that. So like I said, make sure you subscribe, drop a like. My name's David the Crook, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.